Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. So today, let's take a look at the 2026 Audi RS7 Performance. Huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This RS7 is finished off in Daytona Gray Pearl, and let's take a quick look at the MSRP, just over $156,000. This has the matte carbon package at $7,600, executive package just over $3 grand, same with the headliner, the RS Design Plus package, driver assistance is $2 grand, and then there's the sport exhaust and the red calipers too. So this is pretty much a fully loaded model. And we'll move on to what this is powered by, which is the 4-liter twin turbo V8. This is paired to the 8-speed automatic. It pumps out 621 horsepower, 627 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through the Quattro all-wheel drive system, where this also features all-wheel steering as well. It weighs in just over 4,900 pounds. It'll do 0 to 60 in 3.3 seconds with a top speed up to 190 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 19.3 gallons. You'll expect to see 14 miles per gallon in the city and 21 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 115.3 inches. Its overall length is 197.2. It has a width of 76.8, a height of 56.1, and its ground clearance measures in at 4.3 inches. Now, as we move on to the front styling here, you'll notice the blacked out Audi badge. There's also a forward camera underneath that and a sensor on both sides as part of the distance pacing and all of that tech. This still retains that hexagonal design for the grille, finished off in gloss black, where there's also parking sensors too. And then you'll notice massive inlets on both sides just underneath all of the LEDs, which have a great look to them. And with some of those packages, you'll notice even more carbon fiber accents on both sides, and the entire lower section of the bumper has that carbon fiber trim accent. And then you'll notice 4 distinctive crisp lines coming down the hood, meeting the top of that grille very nicely. Now, as we move to the side, this has a set of 22-inch wheels, finished off in matte black, and you'll see the massive red brake calipers there to give this plenty of stopping power. There's also carbon fiber in the lower side skirt, and it's on the power folding side mirrors for the mirror cap, where there's a camera and a turn signal. You'll notice gloss black for all of the window trim, and then there's the sunroof up top. There's also some more crisp lines flowing down the side, especially that rear fender arch there leading to the back, where this has a set of LEDs with a great look to them. There's also the bar that runs right through the trunk lid. This has a backup camera, all of the parking sensors. You'll notice more carbon fiber for the entire bumper, and then there's the dual exhaust tips on both sides. Now, you can use the button on the key fob or the control underneath to gain access to your cargo space, where this is not a normal sedan. We have more of that hatchback design to make this a lot more practical. You can fit in some larger items. So you'll notice there's a 12 volt. There's also this storage net on one side. You do have this cover here, where there's also the manual adjusting sunshade, so you can use that as needed. Of course, you can fold the back seats down too, and you do have a little bit of storage under the floor where you could place some items along with some tie-down hooks too. So you can definitely fit in quite a lot of items. And then you have the buttons up top to close it or to lock the vehicle. Now, if you do lock it, you get proximity door handles, so just grab any door handle to lock and unlock it. You'll notice that these are pillarless doors, and this interior has some great materials. All the Alcantara, carbon fiber, brushed aluminum accents. There's Bang & Olufsen for the audio, and then some storage down below. Now, this also gets the red trimmed seat belts. You have RS along with all of the red stitching for these leather seats. And then at 5'10", it's pretty easy to hop in, where you have storage pockets behind both front seats. There's vents in the middle, and then you have all of your controls for your temperatures, your heated seats, where you'd like the air to go with the dual zone for the rear, and then all of the auxiliaries located down below. Now, this also gets an Alcantara headliner, and at 5'10", I'm just barely touching the headliner. I could still ride around town and be comfortable, but it is a little bit tight with that rear design, but you can still fit adults in the back here. Now, there's also the armrest, where you do get some storage in the back side, and then you have cup holders up front, and you can also fold down this middle seat individually, so that way you can use that as needed. And then you have those additional cargo windows, so that way you can see around this pillar here. Now, as we work our way up front, we have the same materials, of course. However, this has memory seating adjustments for your driver. You have heated and power folding side mirrors there, and then all the window controls, that trunk release, and more storage. RS7 is down on the door sill, and then that same design for these seats. Really nice touch with all of your controls for the adjustments on the side. And then as we hop in, we are greeted with an Alcantara steering wheel with that flat bottom design. The RS badge is down below. There's also paddle shifters on both sides, but let's fire this up and take a listen to that V8. And coming back to the virtual cockpit now, you will notice on the far left there's engine temperature, far right there's fuel, and then right in the middle we can go through some more info using a few controls on the steering wheel. So on this left side you'll notice view, there's 2 arrows and this scrolling dial. So if I start using the arrows and going to the left or the right, you'll notice we can toggle through all of this information in the upper section there. So all of this is going to be shown on the far left, and then you can scroll through it just depending on the screen that you're in. Now let's say you want to see the nav in full screen, simply just click on view, and now you can have that front and center, and then you can continue to go through the rest of this information in a larger view. So it just depends on what you need to see, if you'd rather have that or you want to see some of this performance information. Now on the right side, there's voice commands, Bluetooth, volume and tuning, and then an RS button. So you can actually configure this where you have a few different settings. You can go into RS1, RS2, and then back into your auto setting. So it will change some of the performance of the vehicle, and it will also adjust the head-up display. So now you can see the tach along with miles per hour and some temperatures. When you go to auto, it will just show miles per hour and your lane keeping assist. So just depending on the spirited driving that you are doing for the day. Now there's all of your headlight adjustments. There's some storage down below. There's also more carbon fiber and brushed aluminum accents, leather for the dash. And then as we work our way to the infotainment system, you'll notice more carbon fiber along with the air vents above it. And then you have a lot that you can go through. So we have a search screen, you have a split view to show multiple information, and then you also have all of these icons to further go through. Very touch sensitive, so it's easy to go through. And then you have shortcuts on this left side, so you can further get into all of this information. Now, if we go into vehicle, this is how you can get into drive select. So you have different driving modes along with being able to raise the vehicle as it has an adaptive suspension, and RS1 and RS2 are customizable, like I said. So you can go through your drive, your suspension, your steering, your engine sound, and the sport differential. So you can customize this, which is fantastic. There's also an RS monitor, so you can view all of this performance information, even your TPMS, and then you have a few other icons that you can get into as well. Now, somewhat within the screen, in the lower section here, you have engine start stop. There's also parallel parking, so that is a nice feature to have. You have shortcuts here, so you can place items there as needed. There's the heated steering wheel, the rear spoiler, which you can deploy. You have a head-up display adjustment, so you can get into that, and then you can shut that upper screen off as well. For the rest of the lower screen, you can get into the heated and cooled seats. You also have all of your climates, so fan speed, temperature, where you'd like the air to go. You can also access your rear climates along with the heated steering wheel as well. So it's very easy to go through all of this and customize it and set it up, of course. Now you do have a shortcut to your drive select, so you can get into that mode. There's traction control, some defrosters, and you also have a shortcut to the camera system. So this does offer the 3D view. So you have the top-down view on one side, and then all of these angles that you can go through, including that 3D view. So you can swipe around the vehicle to make sure nothing is around. You can also access your parallel parking, and then you can even go through a few of these here for those settings. You do have some more information that you can get into for your driver assistance to configure that. There's also volume. You have cup holders with an auxiliary, more Alcantara for the shifter, so simply just push it forwards for the camera system. You have drive, and then you can also shift here or with the paddles. And then you have the e-brake, more Alcantara and stitching for this armrest where you have wireless charging and some auxiliaries. And then you have a locking glove box with plenty of space. There's garage door buttons underneath the rear view, touch sensitive dome lights, and controls for both the sunroof and sunshade. And then here's a look at visibility. You have a pretty good view over both shoulders. As we set off behind the wheel now for the RS7, I have been able to drive these in the past For the 26-year model, there's really no significant changes. I have noticed though, from previous models, there's no tweeters in the dash anymore that raised and lowered. So those are a little bit different of a design just to blend in nicer with the dash. But other than that, there's a few other color options for the calipers, but again, nothing too significant for this latest model. Now with the RS7, you get the best of both worlds. You get performance and practicality. You could also go with the RS6 if you wanted the hatchback or the station wagon version, which will give you even more interior cargo. So it just depends on the design that you're looking for. This is going to give you a phenomenal daily driver and something that is very performance oriented. We have all-wheel drive to keep that power and to get all that grip, and all-wheel steering too, which is going to make this very easy to maneuver. There's parallel parking features too, so you get a really nice luxury vehicle with all of the performance. So I have it in one of the RS settings. It's in the manual mode, second gear. Here's a small acceleration. It's not crazy loud. I'm sure it would get a little bit louder if I really got on it. You can hear a difference though between the RS settings and the non. So that sport exhaust is an active system, so it does get slightly louder. But the shifts are very crisp and quick, as you would expect, and just the power that you get. And the handling too. This handles very well for its weight. Like I said, from driving them in the past, taking corners, it has a low center of gravity. It's going to perform very well, as you would expect for an RS model. Now, these seats also have a really cool option with all of the red with the RS badge just behind me here, and the bolstering support is very comfortable. So this is a great sporty daily driving seat, but it's going to give you a good supportive seat too when you're taking this to the track or back roads. Now at 5'10", I have maybe 2 or 3 inches of headroom, and this is a height adjustable seat. So you can configure this, you could be taller than me and still fit pretty comfortable in this. But it's quick, it has a lot of potential, and just in the stock configuration, I have seen people tune these and modify them. Maybe you're looking at 800, 900 horsepower for these, so if that's something you'd like to do, this is a great platform to start with the twin turbo V8. And we're still in RS2, second gear, here we go. And just a slow acceleration there. The paddles are even very responsive for a small acceleration like that. But this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the RS7 Performance. You have a lot of different ways that you can inspect this vehicle. Of course, today's model is pretty much fully loaded. So those are options that you don't have to get, just depending on what you would like to spend. But you have a lot of different ways to spec it. And it's just a really nice vehicle to be. And being an Audi, it's very refined feeling, very quiet. And it's just going to give you a very peaceful drive. But then when you're ready, you have all the performance at your fingertips. And like I mentioned earlier with its maneuverability, here's full lock, where it's such a tight turning radius for a longer vehicle. It's very easy to drive, super easy to see around. We have thin A-pillars up front. Even with that somewhat of a hatchback, sportback look in the rear, it's still easy to see all around and place this vehicle. I will say it's a little bit tight for your backseat passengers. I believe the RS6 Avant has a little bit more space for your backseat passengers, but it just depends on the type of vehicle that you are looking to get. I only compare that because those are 2 of the RS models from Audi that give you a lot of power for a performance or a family style vehicle. So this would make for a great daily driver. You have a lot of tech, no large curved screen like some of the other 26-year models. I know not everyone's a huge fan of that, so you still have the 3-screen setup here for the RS7, which is nice. Everything is laid out well and super easy to go through. And I know I haven't really been able to touch base on handling a whole lot, but you can't go wrong with this. It can take some turns very well, but that is going to wrap it up for the 2026 RS7. Once again, huge shout out to Audi Northlake for providing this for me today. Take a look at their website, give this video a huge thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and consider smashing that subscribe button so you can stay up to date with our daily uploads. I will see you all in the next video.